I used to think that being locked up was the worst thing that could happen to me. I was wrong. It started with a deal gone bad, a mistake I didn't even make. But in my world, mistakes don't matter. What matters is who's left to take the fall. I was thrown behind bars, but prison wasn't the punishment. It was just the beginning. You won't expect the twist, so hit the like button and subscribe, and lock in. My husband, Fernando, currently lives in America's most secure prison, the Supermax prison in Florence, Colorado. You may recognize the name from articles on El Chapo. Apparently, the big guy could be sent here to live with them. Not like it matters. They won't see anything of him anyway. Prisoners living in Supermax receive 1 hour a day outside of their cells. Just 1 hour. 23 hours of near solitary confinement is enough to drive a person insane, but I guess that's what the American government is going for. Or at least that's what it seems like. Fernando got sent to the prison in 2014 on drug-related charges. He was caught with some on him. But come on, who hasn't done college? We were married young, and this absolutely ripped our lives apart. He only got sent there because he's Hispanic and was caught with cocaine, so obviously he's part of a cartel. It doesn't matter. I'll stick by him till do we part, right? Anyway, I uprooted my life, moved to Colorado, where I smoke weed freely and openly. Thanks for asking. And I visit him 1x a week. I go every day, but unfortunately, that isn't allowed. Visiting days are on Sundays only, so that's what we do. Every Sunday, I get my best dress on and march my happy ass down to ADX, or administrative maximum, for long. Since he's been locked up, Fernando has been focused on doing the most romantic gestures that he can think of. I do appreciate this, since he never really did any romantic gestures when he was a free man. But every day he'll write me a letter. Usually, it's just the mundane details of his life, and how much he misses being on the outside. He saves them up and gives them to me in a big bundle on Sundays. According to Fernando, this keeps him sane. He imagines I'm sitting next to him, and he's just telling me about his day. I do the same thing for him. I tell him about the cats, and the cute things they did, or the new TV series I've started to watch. I do try to keep my details of the outside world limited. It wouldn't be very nice of me to rub it in his face that I'm free, and he's not. With his new romantic push, Fernando has never missed a Valentine's Day letter. This one is special, because he saves up his measly money, buys a stamp and envelope, and mails it to me so that I can open it on Valentine's Day if it's not on a Sunday. He has never missed a Valentine's Day. That is, he's never missed a Valentine's Day until today. I didn't receive my letter today, which I thought was a little strange, because he times it exactly right so that the letter arrives on the 14th. I decided to wait by the phone. Maybe something happened and the mail got delayed. I called the post office, but nope, everything was running on schedule. Around 1:30 p.m., I got a phone call from ADX. I immediately picked up, accepted the charges, and I could hear Fernando breathing heavily on the other side. Babe, he breathes. Something happened. Something bad. I can't say what, because I don't know. But I love you, esposa. Take care. He hung up immediately after that. I tried calling the prison back, hoping maybe I could get an officer to get a message to Fernando on the side, but no one picked up. It just rang, and rang, and rang. I frantically checked the news about ADX, and honesty, anything happening in Florence, to see if it could have anything to do with the prison and Fernando's safety. After searching for a couple minutes, my anxiety hit an all-time high, and I figured there wouldn't be any harm in just driving by and taking a look, just if there were ambulances and stuff there. So I hopped in the car and drove the couple of miles down to ADX. When I got there, the weirdest thing was that everything was in order. There were no ambulances, no fire trucks, or emergency vehicles at all really. In fact, there were no vehicles there at all. I pulled in the parking lot slowly. This shouldn't be happening. This is an incredibly high security prison. There should be cars in the lot for the guards. There should be some signs of life. I pulled up right outside of the front door, where I go every Sunday, and something seemed off. There were no lights on in the lobby, and it looks like there was a cobweb suspended over the front door. How is that possible? It was a large cobweb and it's only Thursday. There's no way that a spider could have made a web that big and no one noticed it. What was weirder still was that the door was unlocked. This was the most secure prison in the United States. There should be no door unlocked. The inside of ADX was a ghost town. Literally, there was no one there, no one behind the desk, no one standing guard, and I couldn't find anyone in the general population area at all. I decided to try my luck a bit. Maybe, if the front door was unlocked, the other areas of the prison would be too. I decided that if I was caught, I'd just say I needed help seeing my husband, and the doors were locked. Whoever broke into a prison anyway, right? Turns out I was right. The doors leading to the general prison were unlocked. This situation got even weirder. There was no one in the entire prison. That's not possible. My yells for Fernando echoed through the halls, bouncing off the concrete structures that just stood completely empty. This was too weird. I had to call someone, The cops maybe? They would know who evacuated an entire prison. Or maybe the local FBI office would know. As I had that thought, I raced down to the entrance again. I had to find Fernando. He must have been transferred to another prison or something, which means I have to relocate again. But where was he in the first place? As I'm wondering about Fernando's location, I feel myself slam into something sturdy. I pull myself out of my reverie, and it seems like I slammed into the front door of the lobby. How could that happen? The door wasn't even locked in the first place. I looked down, checked for any additional locks, and tried again. The door wouldn't budge. It also was pitch black outside. It was barely 2 p.m. when I got there. There's no way I wandered around the prison for 4 hours. I tried the door over and over again for what felt like forever. I checked every corner of the door, every possible place there could be a hidden lock. I tried other exits, but it was all the same situation. I think there's something going on here, and I'm not sure what it is, but I'm currently the world's only prisoner in ADX. I've holed up in the guards' quarters and found a laptop, but I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so maybe I haven't been completely honest, but I didn't need anyone else judging the life that my husband and I live. Fernando was arrested on cocaine-related charges. What I wasn't completely honest about was his level of involvement and who he was involved with. I'm glad I'm in Alice's Wonderland, or some made-up land where only the prison exists, because I would probably lose a kneecap or two for explaining this situation. But here goes. Fernando started out at the age of 16 as a low-level runner for some important people. That's all we knew. We were high school kids, struggling in an NYC suburb with some deadbeat parents. We did whatever we could to make a life for ourselves. When Fernando got offered this job, we had a long, hard look at our lives together. We knew we were going to end up together. We had been through too much shit as a couple. We just needed to decide if the risk was worth the reward here. It was worth it. For a while, he would just make small runs in the city. Nothing too crazy. He would just go on the weekends, hop the bus into Penn Station, take the subway over to Queens, meet his contact, and go wherever he needed to go. He had always said that his contacts wore ski masks, and he never got a good look at any of their features. He didn't know of any defining features. No one had 6 fingers or anything like that. His contacts were completely unknown, which makes his job harder, and their job easier. Fernando did this running job every year until he graduated high school, with honors I might add. He had saved up enough money to put both of us through public college, and save up for a small honeymoon after we were married the month we graduated high school. We were on an all-time high. We were living the best lives we had ever lived up until that point. Growing up with terrible parents, you learn to accept the unacceptable, but we didn't have to do that anymore. We had made it out of our shithole town. We had made a life for ourselves, and we were never, ever going back to that small town. We moved into a tiny little apartment in the city. The pipes leaked, and sometimes the shower water came out brown, but we didn't care. We were living our own life, not anyone else's. The second semester of our first year of college is when things started to go south. Fernando was so good at his weekend job, they decided he could take on some more work since he didn't have classes on Tuesdays or Thursdays. He wasn't given an option this time. He was going to take on more work and apparently assume a more important position. Up until this point, Fernando and I had never asked questions. The money was too good and too stable for us to question it. We had no idea who he was working for. In hindsight, we were stupid, young idiots, and we should have asked or at least done some Googling. But hindsight is always 20/20, and we were young and dumb. Even if we did ask questions though, we probably wouldn't be alive today to tell the story. So Fernando assumed more responsibility. That meant he's going to be the one in the ski mask now. He was virtually invisible to anyone lower in the food chain than him. The higher position, though, means that he was now able to communicate directly with the buyers to facilitate a drop. This is where the situation began to get a little sticky. In reality, it went sliding downhill so quickly, I can barely remember it. Fernando did a couple of weeks in his new position within the hierarchy. He started to facilitate the trips to his influential clients. However, he didn't realize just how influential they were. He was facilitating trips to some of the country's most powerful people. Anyone who says that politicians don't snort are bullshitting you. The politicians of the United States have nostrils wider than the tip of MT Kilimanjaro. Since they were fairly dependent on the goods that my husband now supplied to them, you could say that Fernando had them by the balls. We all knew that this was a dangerous game. Fernando tried his hand in a little blackmail. Like I said before, hindsight is 20/20, but at the time, we were money hungry. His new gig was paying more money, but we were dazzled at the thought that we could make even more, maybe even be the El Chapo of North America. But we all know how that pipe dream turned out. It actually worked for a while. We were giddy. We were like little kids in a candy store. Fernando could get virtually anything he wanted. He started his own little empire, with me as his trophy empress. He could get whatever he wanted. Best dinner reservations in Manhattan? Done. Trips across country? Done. It was such a whirlwind. I don't even know the specifics of how far his power extended. With his power, though, came a cockiness I had never seen from him before. He got confident, apparently too confident. He decided to the wrong person, who I understand to be fairly high up in the CIA. So high up, in fact, that we only knew him as Mr. R. So that is how Fernando ended up in ADX Florence. He tried to blackmail the CIA, and clearly, the CIA got even. Back to the current situation, though. I wandered around the prison a little bit, doing like you all suggested. I searched for signs of life. I looked for signs of a sudden disappearance, but I got nothing. I did, however, find Fernando's cell. It was covered in pieces of loose-leaf paper, all seemingly addressed to me. This must have been his collection of letters to me. I thought maybe I had finally found a breakthrough. Maybe whatever happened was a work in progress, and he would have known about it. From what I understand, Fernando is kind of well known in the ADX general population. To put it lightly, when they're allowed out for 1 hour a day, Fernando runs shit his way. If anyone would hear wind of workings in the prison, it was my husband. I frantically searched through his letters, looking for anything out of the ordinary that would jump out of the page at me. After pages and pages, I found what I was looking for. The letter he started writing on the 14th of February. It was rushed. It looks like he scribbled it down in a hurry so he wouldn't forget. But here's what I was able to decipher. He's here. Mr. R. Here. In the prison? How? I haven't seen him since I got locked up. He's looking for illegible. He has illegible with him? How can he have that? It looks like it's a big black machine except with light-up buttons. He's rolling it to each cell. Illegible. The cells just opened. All of them. At once. Just opened, and Mr. R is standing there grinning like a fool. I have to call you. I have to figure this out. What is illegible? That's it. That's the whole letter. That Mr. R did something to my Fernando. And now I'm apparently stuck in the most secure prison in the United States of America. I have no idea what he did, or how he did it, but I guess that's my next objective. Maybe this big black machine got left behind somehow, or maybe I can raid the warden's office for paperwork on whoever this mystery man is that ruined my husband's life. I'll keep you all posted. Wish me luck.